source company of a Java-based portal framework listed on Fortune's top 500. More than 75,000 developers. Edmund Dueck, Marketing Manager, EMEA of Liferay.
Good afternoon. Yeah, thank you. These videos always make you look like you're this great person. It's amazing. But actually, who matters is you in the seats. Thank you for the patience with the technical people. And I just want to do something. I know these people worked very, very hard for this new projector. And although it was a little bit of time, can we give them a round of applause for making this all possible throughout the day? Yes. Thank you, people, for fixing this. I have now a little bit less time, but still would like to share with you one of my favorite stories. I'm not sure if who remembers his very first car. I know this is not the generation, but buys cars actually. But who has a memory, a positive memory of their very first own car? Oh, not many people. Okay. Oh, that's a little bit more. That's good. So this one, it looks very similar to the car that I first bought when I was 18 years old. Okay. I just got my driver's license. And I looked this up. I said, I want this car. And my father took me on a ride for a test drive with this car. And he said, actually, it's really good. There's only one problem. The clutch is broken. And he said, it's not a problem. We can fix it ourselves. And I got really nervous because I didn't know much about cars. But he apparently knew about cars. So we said, OK. We bought the car for 400 euros back then, 800 D-marks, 400 euros. And then we unpacked our toolkit, right? And we fixed the car ourselves. And I was very surprised. When you look under the hood of a little bit older car, it's from the 70s, right? A BMW. This is not a BMW, but when you look into it, it's actually quite interesting and very simple. You can see where things are, and after a while, you get to know things so that I could actually repair things on that car myself after a while. Now, when you look under a hood of a normal car today, it's not that easy anymore. Right? And we all find ourselves, it doesn't matter if it lasts 10 years, even 5 years, or 20 years, we can all say that our analog context and our digital context has changed dramatically, right, in the last 20 years. Let me take you on a short journey. Just 20 years ago, it was only 3.6% of people who had access to the internet, right? Now it's over 54% and obviously growing. I actually wanted, for those people who were here this morning, I wanted to play you the sound that a modem does. I'm not sure, have you seen it this morning, right? The modem sound, it was very, very annoying, I know. And you know, when you dialed into the internet, nobody could call you back then, right? You were actually solely on the internet. You would get your email, you would surf, and then you would disconnect again. Now it's obviously completely different. And what we also see is, when we look at the number of devices, it was 500 million devices back then. Now it's over 8 billion that are connected to the internet, and all of us have a smartphone somewhere in the pocket that is working right now and connects us to the world. Now, we moved from the mobile phone to the smartphone. We now do more things in the cloud than ever, and from video conferencing, FaceTime and Skype connects us across continents or cities. Now, what has stayed the same is email, correct? Right? We have written emails back then, if you can remember, and we are writing emails still today. And I think if we look at the stage of digital transformation, I actually looked up this term. If you are at conferences, business IT conferences or other things, and maybe in your meetings still today, doesn't matter if you're at an agency or if you are at a government institution or maybe enterprise, we all talk about digital transformation. I actually dislike the term. I cannot hear it anymore, right? But when we talk about it, I was curious and I thought, when was the first time this term came about? Digital transformation. So I did some research. Actually, it was a consultant from Capgemini who did a research paper with the Institute MIT in Boston. And they coined the phrase digital business, and then it became digital transformation. And when we look at our companies and our enterprises and our world, we saw a lot of digital. There's a lot of tools out there that you can use. But there's not much transformation, actually. And why that is happening is Transformation has to do with our culture. In our company, in our institutions, in our agencies, it has something to do with our ability to change. And this gentleman sitting here in the front row, I never saw a chainsaw, but I thought it was actually a very, very applicable sign, right? If you want to have change, you need to do it radical, correct? So when we look at this, I think it doesn't matter where you are, we all are digital leaders today. And it doesn't matter which company or industry you work, these things are actually expected of you, right? You need to bring fast change, you need to work in complex environments, you need to be creative, right? But at the same time, keep everything in mind and connect the dots. And I would like to talk with you in the remaining time that I have, how to make progress in that scenario, in that context. Because if we summarize it all together, your job description, my job description, we can put it into two different things, right? For our customers, for our employees, for our partners, or in our creative agencies, we make to do things right, and we also want to delight people, right? To bring a smile on their face, to put trust in our brands, right? To give attention to us so we can sell or propose a product or a service. And so this job description is not easy, and so when we look at the context that we have to do it, and the tools, there's actually some good things that we can learn from that. And I would like to tell you a couple stories. First, we'll look at the context and awareness that is needed to take our brands to the next level, and then we'll look at the tools that we need to get there. Now, first one, I would like to say everything starts with us. With us, the employees of our companies, with us, the employees of our agencies, with the people are the biggest human capital or the biggest capital that we have. It's our ideas, it's our drive, it's our momentum, right? And I think when we look at some statistics, and I'm not sure how it is in Hungary, but I dug up this statistic from Germany, right? And basically shows how many % of the entire workforce is emotionally engaged and thus brings really great, successful momentum for the company. It's actually only 15% in Germany. And I reckon it is very similar in other Western countries. 15%, 70% are hardly emotionally engaged, and 15% are not engaged at all. I showed the statistic at an event in September. And then after the talk, two people came up to me from a creative agency, a consulting agency. And they said, you know, we really liked your talk, we liked the slide, and we did a tally of our employees and who is emotionally engaged, and they showed me a paper with names on it, right? And there was, and we found out it's two people who are at all not engaged. And I said, what are you gonna do with them? They said, we're gonna have to let them go soon. Please don't let go any people in your company, right? But I think what is important to realize is that we need to engage people in our experiences. And if you ever wondered, right, these are the 4 things according to the CEO of Tesco, who is a leader and brought the company forward for many, many years. And he said, there's 4 things that we all look for in a job. If you ever wondered, here's a good summary. We want an interesting role, right? We want to be treated with respect, to have a chance to get on, and a boss who helps. These are the 4 things that are important to most of us or all of us, right? And now when we see, especially the workforce that is entering into the markets right now, there's a gap. There's a gap in these 4 things, but also in the technology. People are used to Facebook, to Instagram, to Google, where you sign in simultaneously, and then you come to the company, you come to the context is completely different. At your workplace, you have to log in multiple times, right? The systems are not as quick as they should be, and in general, there's not a good user experience. And I would just like to give you an example of what you can encounter, and what maybe probably also what you expect from companies or from your workplace today. One of my sons, he's 14 years old, and he has an allergy. And this spring, it was particularly bad, so we ordered him an air purifier for his room. Right? It's just a small box that came, we opened it up, and right away, he's 14, he has a smartphone, he pulled up his smartphone, and he was looking, he's like, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm looking if there's an app for this thing, right? And then my other son, who does not have a smartphone, he's only 10 years old, he wasn't even going that far, he was just trying to talk to it. He said, Alexa, right? And it dawned on me that, you know, for them, it is completely natural that our devices that we work with, that we interact with, are devices that are around us, right? That they are connected to the devices that we have, or that they are connected to us and do our bidding through the voice. Right? And so this is the workforce, and there's a gap between what we encounter in our private lives a lot of times and what we encounter at our jobs. And this is the context that you have to be aware of when you build tools for your team. And I think this is an important point. We need to not only engage our team, we also need to build for them. Please meet this gentleman. He lives in New York, Dante Ragazzo. He's one of the IT managers at a big company called Coach. They're a luxury brand for bags, and they had a problem, right? They wanted to build for the team, but they realized they're doing a lot of things still manually and on paper. And then they decided to build a new system for the employees that is connected to mobile devices, into different platforms that can connect everything. Because the employees in the past, they got a new store layout. It was all sent to them on paper, right? And then they had to position the bags. And then you didn't know, the supervisor didn't know, did they do it right or wrong, or is there any improvement? Now, they just look, they get the thing on their smartphone, they walk around the store, they take pictures, they send it back to the supervisor. Since they have the system, they saved over $500,000 in postage alone, because they needed to send all the stuff to the stores. Right? And what they did with the system that they built on our technology, they said, you know, it is for us, it is very, very crucial that the stores, that the brand is there and that is visible everywhere, and it's the same everywhere. And so what Mr. Ragazzo says, for us, it was very, very good to build a cornerstone to put that in place so we can work and expand from there. Another gentleman I would like to introduce you to is Edmund Dueck. He works for a company that does glass. It's a company that shot. Right, they do the Saran cooking stoves, but also big glass fiber and all this kind of stuff, very, very innovative. And they said, how can we bring innovation into our company? And so they built something, an innovation forum for their employees. And this gentleman, he said, well, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and put an idea on this forum. Just an idea for a project that's not there yet. And he put that out there just to try if it works. And a bunch of other people, they connected all throughout the world. 7, 8 people collaborated, and in a matter of 3 to 4 months, they were able to put that into a patent. And this product would have not been there if this technology, if this system, this platform would have not been there in order to serve the people. So I would like to say that the point of the context and the skills is very, very crucial to see, not just for the employees, but also for companies. And then this is my next point, to be invested in your customer. We hear that a lot about companies that are innovative and that disrupt, that they're very customer-centric. They do it very, very systematically. They see, what does the customer need? Where can we take it to the next level? I hate to bring Amazon as an example, but they are about to sell insurance here in Europe. You can buy your smartphone, you can buy your washing machine, and then you can buy insurance with it. And even if it breaks without your fault, right? During transport, of course, but also if your smartphone falls down or something happens, it would be insured. And it's very, very easy process. It's probably will be integrated into the checkout process. And so people will say, why not? I don't get this insurance anywhere else. That's why I'll do it. And Amazon will make a lot of money with it. And if you think about the big brands nowadays, right? We actually trust them a lot, not because they're experts in the field, but because they have delivered on something else. I'll give you an example. You can try this out for yourself. Take a big brand that you trust. Let's say Amazon, let's say Apple, let's say maybe Siemens, or maybe an airline, whatever, right? And then put an adjective that is not in their field. Let's try this out, right? Amazon shopping, of course we know, and then they take it to the next level with Go. But what about Amazon insurance? It's coming. What about Amazon banking? How about Amazon flight? How about Apple driving? You know, the Apple car was in the news a couple of years ago, and they might not be working on the car, but it doesn't matter, because if they would do something where we see we trust them in this area, we also will buy their products here if they deliver. And so this whole thing of investing into the customer and seeing and taking it beyond is very, very crucial, and we're going to see that more and more on a platform level. I like this quote because this is where it very first came to me when I read this research report. And this person said, we actually don't work with people who are not invested into our success. The question is, if your brand is invested into the customer success of the future. Here is another gentleman I would like to introduce you to, Radoslav Volny. He lives in Bratislava, and he works for a big telco company, O2. And they were a big challenger into the Bratislava or the Slovakian market when it comes to telcos. There were 2 established telcos there already. And they said, we got to try to challenge these telcos. And in the beginning, they said, here's going to be our values for us as employees and for the people who we want to sell our product to. And that's fair, fans, and fun. We want to be fair. We want to have a pricing very, very easily accessible. We want it to be a fun experience, and we want to create fans from our customers. And that's what they did, right? They used a platform to build, in the beginning, landing pages, but then a self-service network. And in a matter of years, they grew from 300,000 to 2 million subscribers. Quite a great success. I would also say beyond invested to the customer, I would recommend you to take it step by step. I interviewed one of the people there working in the store. He said, actually, I feel bad, showing the people something in the store when they come to change the address or do things online, because they can do it all by themselves. Right? And I walked around in the store, and the store was made for a particular group, for a particular persona. And they really took time to do it and to listen to the customer. They looked around what the customer wanted, and so you can do the contract online with them on the tablet, right? They come to your home if you want to, and there's these little gimmicks there. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the video, but if you put 3D glasses on, this whole world that is black and white right now comes to life. There's animation, and it's really, really beautiful as an experience for people that are there in the store. Finally, the last 3 steps is be fanatical about little improvements. Analysts say that a good customer experience consists of these 3 things. It needs to be effective, it needs to be easy to do, and it needs to elicit a positive emotion. Right? That's what we want from our brands. That's what we want from our services. And it's interesting that right now, about 21% of the budget is being spent, right? Is being spent on technology and marketing and in communications. But 41% of the marketeers say we still have a lack of technology. And I'm not sure if there's a lack of technology. I would actually say that you need to be really looking at the customer and seeing what is possible right now and what does the customer journey look like. This gentleman did that. He is from Stuttgart. He is from a company called Bosch. They do smart home products for the house, thermostats, video cameras, etc. And I visited him and I talked to him about customer experience, and he says everything for us starts with the customer at the center. And for them, it's not just about fanatical improvements, it's also starting with a clear vision. When I visited him, we walked around, and then I looked at one of the big offices there, and he had an entire customer journey for customers, right? An entire wall detailed. What is the next step? What if the customer does this or that? Or what if he cancels the order? How we do returns, etc. And I asked him, well, you put a lot of effort into this. How much do you actually sell over your website? Because they sell also over Amazon and eBay and in stores. He said, actually, it's only 5%. And I was impressed. For 5% of his customers, for 5% of his turnover, he went into a very, very detailed process and took it step by step and started with a clear vision. And the success of it is great. They are expanding into other markets, and it's actually one preferred home appliance for people who are looking for these kinds of products. You know, there are moments of truth when we encounter products, and there is moments of connection. Let me explain you the difference between the two of them. A moment of truth is when I find out how long the car goes, how long the appliance goes, right? How long the jacket lasts, etc. But a moment of connection is when we make a positive connection with a brand. You know, I travel a lot for myself personally and also for work. And one of my greatest experiences is when I walk back from my flight, I accomplished something, it was a great meeting or a great trip, and I walk back in the airport. But one time, that was cut short. I was in a meeting at London, and there was a strike that the airline that I was traveling with, it's actually my preferred airline. And so I went to the airport earlier. I walked up to the first class check-in counter, and I said, you know, I would like to fly earlier. And my ticket was non-transferable, right? I did not book a first class or even a business class ticket, but the lady just looked. She looked me in the eyes. She looked in the computer, and then she said, yes, you can go. The flight leaves in 30 minutes. Please hurry up. And that was a moment of connection for me, right? I prefer this brand. Why? Not because they do everything right, but that at the right moment, they gave a really good service or a good experience to me. And so this is what I would like to leave you with. Are you engaging the team? Are you building for them, right? Be invested in your customer. Are you taking it step by step? Are you fanatical about improvements and starting with a clear vision? Because if not, you will not be able to produce the moments of connection that produce happy customers and then fans. Back to my car, I would like to leave you with this. When I saw this actually in a classic car exhibition, I learned something new about my car that I never knew before, my first car, right? And that is every BMW since the 1960s has in the C3 column has a certain kind of swing there. Right? Do you see how it doesn't curve all the way through, but it goes back? And the person said it's based on the designer. There was a designer called Mr. Hofmeister. And he said, how can I make this car a little bit more interesting? And so he designed it in one of the first 1960s models. And then since then, they took this design feature and they put it into every BMW since then. And I couldn't believe it. And I looked at all the BMWs that I could find, right? And it's there. It actually has a name. It's called the Hofmeister King. And every BMW has that. And now I remembered, and I would like to leave you with this, right? I was thinking, was Mr. Hofmeister thinking about the cars to come? Right? The big legacy that it would leave. Every BMW that they would look at, it would be seen differently from then on. And I think he wasn't thinking about that. He was just wanting to make this one car just really, really great. And this is what I'd like to leave you with. Why not make your next project really, really great? Why not make your next advertising thing really, really great? Why not put extra effort and look and listen to the customer? Because that might be your legacy. Well, my time is over now, and I thank you for listening. If you would like to know more about our products and services, then you have the chance to win actually a Google device and a couple of AirPods and other technological things. We have a little thing where you can just push the big return button or the big enter button, and then you can have the chance to win. Please check us out. We are right here in the lobby today or tomorrow. And otherwise, I wish you a great conference. Thank you very much.